What's up, guys? Day Trader Knockout here. I got another video for you. Don't got the cowboy hat. I gotta get cleaned. But anyways, today for this video, I got a little surprise for you. For me, it's my personal plan on what it is I'm gonna be personally doing to ensure that from now on in the future, I do two things. One is never go back to paper trading. If I have to draw down, that's okay. But regardless of the matter of the fact is, no matter what, if I have to take drawdowns, if I have to position size down with less position size, that's fine. But overall, my main goal is in the long run to have a consistency of being able to trade where my regular size winners 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio is around $1,000 in profit. Now, and that's in a single trade I'm talking about / day. So my plan to be able to do this is there's a few bullet points that I have on this phone right here that I want to talk about how some steps and some things that I've learned through day trading over the past 2.5 years on what it is I can do to make sure that happens in the future. So first off, one thing that I want to be very I want to put a lot of emphasis on is the fact that you have to be good with saving your money in the beginning, especially when you don't have other sources of income besides your job. You want to be good on cutting down your expenses, good on saving your money, and also, even before you get started with day trading, during the start of it, start investing into long-term investments, because that will create psychological cushion room in the long run, and it'll compound over time, so that anytime that you miss out on big moves or you take losses consistently and go through those drawdown periods, or maybe every once in a while you go through a loss that's a little bit above your what you would prefer to see on the screen from the P&L perspective. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, I realized that day trading, they say that it requires patience. However, it's not just patience in the setups you take, like they say to take high quality setups. It's also patience in the sense that with the profits, it's not just about, because again, if you day traded for a long enough time, what you're going to realize, it's not win after win, day after day. Again, it's risk to reward specifically for the fact that you're expecting that you're going to have losers along the way. That's why they say 2-to-1 R&R, 3-to-1 R&R, 4-to-1 R&R. It's not just something that's like a job where it's like you clock in, clock out, you're guaranteed a paycheck. No, it's risky. They say this from the beginning. They tell you this shit, and you're supposed to pay attention. And you're supposed to make sure that you take the risk at play, and that you don't, that's why they say defense is the most important thing, and make sure you preserve your capital overall, because if you preserve it and you don't lose it by blowing up your account, overall it's just naturally going to grow over time. So that's the first thing. But what I've realized, it's not just about patience, because here's the thing. When you hear in investing in the stock market, they'll say it takes money to make money, and also they talk about big returns, you know, like they'll say things like you got a 10% annual return, maybe on a trade you got a 200% return, a bunch of things. Regardless, they say that, but the thing is, you got to make sure that you have enough capital for those returns to mean something, because if you get involved and you invest early into a growth company stock, and say in a few months it goes up $20 and you got in at $1 a share, that investment of $20 would then turn into, if I'm not, what's 20, I'm a retard, I'm sorry. So that investment would turn into $400. I'm sorry, I'm retarded. But if you invest, and after that, that's how much it would go up in value. Now, if you invested $2,000 times 20, that turns into $40,000. It's the same return, but a much bigger payout due to the fact that you had the capital at play. So, a quick story for me personally, what happened. My first ever investment I made was 3 months ago. I got into this company that is a little bit hot in the stock market right now, and that everybody talks about, which is D-Wave QBTS. It's a quantum computing company. I still invest into it. I dollar cost average a few bucks every single day that the market is open, and I plan on getting on bigger dips. But anyways, so I don't get too sidetracked, I invested a total of $4,700 at $7.18 at the average cost. I sold at $19.06. My profits went up around $8,000, and I walked away with a total of about $13,000. That's when you add on my initial investment plus how much the investment went up in value. So what I'm trying to point out is, when you have the capital already, that will make long-term investments blow up much faster, and that's the same for day trading. Because backtrack to when I first started getting much good consistency from July to now, and consistency and better trades relative to my position size. A good trade, there was a few that I had $400 and a profit on a trade. My best trade ever in terms of P&L was $640 on one single trade. And what I want to point out is the fact that that was relatively low size. And to this day, year over year, month after month, after it going over time, my live trading account, I'm still profitable to this moment. However, it's not meaningful enough because I don't have the capital. Because a full position size for me is 5 option contracts with deltas of 0.20. That would be a lot big of a difference compared to if it was my full position size being 20 contracts with deltas of 0.20, but I didn't have the capital to be able to risk that in the first place. So that's why I'm letting you know it's important that when you first start off, you cut down your expenses and first start off with a defensive move of saving and making good choices every single day, day by day. It compounds over time. 2.5 years, it's crazy. I didn't even expect to be at this financial point, but it's happening because I'm making the right decisions, and I'm saying fuck you to bad choices every single day. Second thing is have safe long-term investments, such as just continuously every single week investing a dollar cost averaging into the S&P 500 and safe options. I personally believe you should do Bitcoin as well long term, but that's another story. And the third thing is to help blow up your net worth and portfolio fast is invest into low cost growth stocks. A few that I like to think of right now is CTM, BBAI, CTM, Castellum, Big Bear AI, and QBTS. QBTS is at the all-time highs now, so just be careful getting in there. You shouldn't put all your money into a very bullish market because it's more risky there. But anyways, that's besides the point. So when you doing those 3 things when you first start off with trading, you'll be able to make things go faster. Because then what will happen is you'll be able to fund your day trading account with more capital than you could have. Because again, if you just had an additional, like say $20,000 lying around, and you could use that for your day trading and for your living expenses, that would be a hell of a lot better compared to if all you had was $1,000. So I just wanted to put that in perspective. And real quick, next step. Sorry, my phone, I got it locked. 1 second. Yeah. So overall, after I continue to compound with my savings, my investments with my growth stock companies, and I take partial profits to be able to fund my day trading account, and I continue to do my long-term investments, that it's just something that's set it and forget it type of deal. I plan to be able to have a minimum of $16,000 into my personally funded day trading account, to have my full position size be 10 option contracts with deltas of 0.40, and a regular size winner at that point would be around $400. And a regular size loser at that point would be around $160 to $200 when it comes to 2 to 1 R&R risk to reward ratio. Then after that, I plan to hover there for around a few months, and then once I start to gain more consistency, maybe a few months to a year, I plan to have a minimum of $32,000 into my day trading account. A regular size winner at that point would be around $800. Regular size loser would be around $320 to $400. And the big winners, that the ones where it's like you have runners that last all day long, because those will happen eventually as long as you're defensive, you preserve your capital, and you stay safe with your day trading account. Those could easily go up above $1,500 to $2,000. And for the one where it's 10 contracts, delta 0.40, that could easily go around $1,000 right there. And again, another thing that I want to point out is that day trading, even though you have to have defensive, you have to be able to look for opportunities to find those winners that go big, home runs. Because you want to be defensive and you want to lock in your games when it's necessary, maybe take scalps here and there, but look for those opportunities to have runners and really look to maximize the opportunities that come along. Still be defensive and take profits and also have your stops in play, but just look and have the mindset that when you're in a winning trade, be optimistic about it as well. Now, the last thing I want to say is I personally don't want to be a funded trader. I know that's something that people will talk about here and there. But me personally, I want it to be with my own capital, my own risk, because that's what I feel comfortable with doing. And I know that if you become a funded trader and you're good enough at it and you make it win, that's taking on more risk because you got to be a risk taker, especially when you're younger. But again, it's not in alignment with my plan and my strategy, and I can already make big gains with my own capital. So that's all I have to talk about today. That's my plan to get to $1,000 a day with day trading. But with that, guys, stay safe, stay green. Peace. Day trading knockouts out.